Hey fellas, welcome back to the shop. My name's Adam. This is going to be chip control part 2. So first thing you see, I went ahead and all the cool guys were getting whiteboards and putting them in their background, so I thought I'd have to follow suit and get me one. So I actually picked this up this weekend. I had been wanting one. I see how useful it is because other guys have used it, and I've never had one, so this is my first whiteboard. And went and picked it up. It's got the cork on the side so I can stick little notes on there if I want to. But anyway, I think that'll be a nice little addition to the shop. So I can make some little drawings and notes on there for you if I need. And again, there's my email for you guys that's always asking me how to contact me. There it is, right there. So anyway, we're going to get back to doing some chips, making some chips on the Monarch. And I'd like to start off by saying that I really enjoyed watching everybody else's videos that they've made. Tom Lipton, Stan, Donald, Brad, Steve S. I think I'm leaving a few out, but I'm sorry if I didn't call your name, but I've watched most of the ones that I found that popped up in my list there, and it's really great seeing you guys get out there and try to hand grind your tools and make some big heavy chips. And it's been a lot of fun. So thank you for posting all those. Tom, I enjoyed yours, and you went into a lot of detail on how to set the feeds and speeds, and that was great. Appreciate you showing that. So I wanted to point out one thing about this video also. I said that we're trying to pull off the biggest chip we can, but it's not just about seeing how big of a chip we can get. It's also, we're trying to experiment with high-speed tools and hand grinds to see if we can get optimal cutting performance. Taking a large amount of metal at one time to reduce stock, and not only that, also to maintain a breaking chip. That's what I always try to do, is maintain a chip that curls over and breaks off. I don't like long stringy chips. Those are really dangerous, and they get wrapped up in the chuck and the part around the tool. So keep that in mind for you guys that are still playing with this and trying to learn, is that we're trying to create a breaking chip, not a stringy chip. So that's a point to remember there. But yes, we are trying to have a little fun here and see what kind of chip we can make. And I believe the heaviest cut that I made was 7/8 stock removal. So we're gonna shoot for a little more this time and see if maybe we'll take 1 inch. We might try a little more. I don't know. We'll find out. One more thing. You see me using cutting oil, and that's typically what I use. Now the Monarch does have coolant, and if you watch some of my previous videos, you see me use coolant. But my coolant pump has a pretty big leak in it now, so I need to pull the pump out and do a rebuild and replace a hose. It's something that I have not got around to doing yet. So that's why I haven't been using flood coolant, which would really be ideal for what I'm doing here using the high-speed tools. So what I'm going to try this time is, instead of cutting oil, I'm going to set up my cool mist over there, and we're going to try cool mist whenever I'm making some big cuts. Alright, so with all that, we'll move on to the tool bits. Alright, so I've got my tool here, and this is the one that I used for chip control part 1. I haven't used it since then. Still got the marks on it from making the cuts. And I was sitting here playing with it because I haven't looked at it since we did that video. And I was checking my side relief angle. And I thought I had it at 10 degrees, but I didn't. I've actually got it at about 8 degrees on my side rake. So what I want to experiment this time is I'm going to try some more side rake angle, which would be the top flowing down this way. I want to put some more angle in this and see what it does. I'm going to play around with it. And this is another tool bit here that I ground not too long ago. I had some aluminum to turn, and I wanted to get one of these tool bits out and give it a shot. And I want to experiment with this one also. Now this is Rex 49, and it's an older grade of tool steel. And I've got a bunch of this, and most of them are blanks. So I also want to try this tool with the same cuts and see how this tool bit holds up to the cutting action also. So I'm gonna make use of my little whiteboard right here and make you a little drawing of the relief angles here, and let's just go over this one more time. So, all right, the tool bit. That's going to be looking at the end of the tool bit there. Alright, your side rake is going to be that section there. And then your side relief angle is that. And I'm not much of a drawer, so please excuse the squiggly lines there. Alright, so this is going to be that's your side rake. And this is side. This is your side relief. We may not mess with the side relief much. I believe I had about the same, around 7 or 8 degrees on the side relief. I may leave that alone, but we want to try some more side rake and see if that changes our chip control there. All right. We're not using any back rake. That's looking straight back on the top of the tool bit here. You would have an angle ground back. And I believe Tom did a little bit of back rake on his. I'm going to leave that alone for now. We're just going to use a neutral rake. So, all right. Well, let me go get the machine set up, get a piece set up in the machine, and we'll get ready to start making some cuts. Okay. Okay, guys. I'm ready to roll, and I flipped my part around that I was turning on, and we're going to use a fresh end. And I want to point something out real quick. You see I got my Cool Mist set up here. Ray, if you're watching, man, I got my first use out of them zip ties you sent me. I just used the old nozzle, the old coolant nozzle, and zip tied my Cool Mist hose to it so that I can move it around where I want to, and it worked out perfect. So I want to point that out, man. Give you props. Thanks for the zip ties, and they're already putting them to use. And one more thing I need to point out is to make a correction. I told you that my last heavy cut I took 7/8. I didn't. I took 3/4, and I remembered that after I had shut the video off. I guess I was thinking about Tom, because I believe Tom took 7/8 of an inch, and I believe it was Brad at Tactical Keychains. I think he took 800. So we're going to kind of take off here where we left off, and we're going to try the Cool Mist and see what we can do. Okay, here we go. I'm going to run it at 158 RPM, 5,000 feed rate. I'm going to go ahead and shoot for Tom's cut of 7/8. Doing it. It's putting off a more stringy chip than I want, but it is curling over and breaking off. Alright, let me pause it. I need to put my camera in my my other protective case, guys. This mist is getting... Okay guys, I'm back. Got my other case on the camera. And I think we did pretty good there. There's our chips. The nose radius is leaving a nice finish on it. It's a little rough on the side there. Alright, so that was a 7/8 cut at a 5,000 feed rate. I think I did pretty good. I don't want to try a real heavy cut, a heavy feed rate with that depth of cut. I wasn't getting that good of a finish. I wasn't getting that good of a chip last time. It was putting a lot of pressure on it. I want to go ahead and move it in another 1/8 of an inch, and we're going to make a 1-inch cut, just like it is. Alright, so I'm at 875. I'm going to take the dial to 0. And that'll be a 1 inch right there, 500 thousandths per side. Okay, the machine handled it. A little warm, but I don't like these chips. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove that tool, and I want to try some more side rake on the tool and see if that will help me break a better chip here. See, it was sticking pretty good to that edge there. I don't think the cool mist is working quite as good as coating oil, but it's going to keep us from smoking up the shop so bad. Okay. See what I got on here now. It's about 12.5 degrees. I'm just going to say 12 or 13 degrees side relief there. Side don't look bad. I'll probably just hone the side. It doesn't show any signs of needing to get touched up there. Alright, just doing a little honing here. Can you see it? The top edge there. Touch this radius up again a little bit. Alright, we're going to do another cut using this straight in angle that I've got the tool set on. We're going to see how it does, and then we're going to move the tool and create a little bit of a lead in angle on it. I'll just touch off where I've got it here, because we know that was 1 inch. I can see that all that heavy cut has actually moved that piece in that chuck a little bit. Alright, let's try it again. We got a long stringy chip, which I do not like, right here. See? Now I did notice that with that amount of side relief, there wasn't quite as much pressure, but it's not bringing the chip out like I want it. I'm gonna go ahead and move the tool, and let's try a little bit of a lead-in angle and see if that'll help us at all. Okay, here we go. Well, I didn't do any better that time. It's still wanting to curl it. That's it there. To do it. All I'm getting is a stringy chip, but so far I can say that it's taking a 1-inch cut and it's handling it fine. Let me get my all 16ths over here and check my tool post nut. Okay. I'm going to reset this cut. There's 1 inch right there. Well, not having much luck, guys. Cut's no problem. You get up to 8,000 feet. Give it one more shot. Okay. All right. I'm not getting good luck on breaking the chip with a 1-inch stock removal, but the machine's cutting it fine. That's not a problem. So we're gonna have to play with our tool a little bit more, see what we can do to maybe try to get a chip to curl up off there. I don't think I want to try any more side relief on that. We may go and experiment with a chip breaker this time. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and up the ante a little bit, and we're going to try a 1/4 inch stock removal, which would be 5/8 to the side. So we're at 1 inch right now. I'm going to go ahead and move another 250. 1, 2, 50 right there. Now, I know I'm not getting the chip I want, but let's make a big cut. Move it back up where I had it. That cut there is looking good. That's 1/4 inch. And I kicked the feed rate up. 10,500. I'm going to slow it down once it gets to that edge there. Alright, here we go. 5/8 per side. at that big whopper. That's a big old chip, man. Alright, I'm going to change it up here and try something different before we get through with this video here. I went ahead and got me a fresh tool, another one of those Rex 49. I dressed it on the belt sander because they've gotten pretty rusty. Alright, this is a standard typical turning tool that I use all the time, and you can see it's got the little groove ground in the top, and this is a right and a left-handed, and this one right here is not made for cutting a huge heavy cut. I mean, a typical heavy cut for this is 100 thousandths, and they work great, especially in cold roll. So what I want to do is kindly replicate this a little bit on a fresh tool bit. I'm going to use this 1/2 inch Rex 49, but I'm going to have a lot bigger groove ground in the top of this thing. And I'm going to try to give you a little drawing here real quick to show you what I'm talking about. Let me get rid of this. Alright. Alright, that's looking at the tool. But what I'm going to do is, of course, you'll have your side relief here, just like before. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to cut me a valley about like that on the top of the tool bit. And what that does is, when that metal is shearing on this edge, that groove helps that chip roll around and then curl off of there. And it works extremely well for just taking normal everyday cuts. We're going to give it a shot and see if we can make that work on a big heavy cut also. So back to the grinder, and I'll show you a little bit of this grinding too. Alright, I went ahead and touched up the side relief just to kind of speed things up here. You can see, got the side done, got the end relief, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut the groove in the top. And I use the corner of the wheels. Probably go ahead and use this one here because it's the coarse wheel. I'll show you how I do it. I had to move it over a little bit. I was getting a little crooked there. Like I said, I'm making this a lot wider and deeper than I normally do because we're taking so much metal off. But you want the groove parallel to your cutting side here. So there's our chip breaker groove. I'm not going to worry about grinding any side rake on it. We're just going to let the groove do that. Okay guys, let's try this again. I'm going to go ahead and play with this little stub here that we got left, and I'm not going to go in there and shoot for a gigantic cut first time. We're going to kind of lead up to it. So what I want to try is I'm going to feed in 250 thousandths the first try here, and let's see what the tool does. I've sped it up to 200 RPM and a 10 thousandths feed rate. You can see how much that part moved in the chuck there, that huge cut. We'll just go with it there. Alright, 0. was 250. Let me get a little bit of mist. There we go. Alright, now it's not liking it. What's going on? Trying to build up an edge, I think. Just looking at my tool. It's that Rex 49, so I want to make sure. Let's try something real quick. Cutting oil just seems to do a better job. We're going to try a little bit of that on this little cut here and see what it does. That cool mist that it's vaporizing. You see it? It's making a nice cut right there. It's making a nice little curly cue, curling it right on over. That did pretty good using the cutting oil, not so good on with the mist. But that's the kind of chip that I've been telling you guys that I try to get right there. And that little groove ground in the top of your tool will do that. Alright, that was 250. Alright, here's another 250. 375. It's 3/8. That's a pretty respectful cut right there. I mean, that's you cutting 3/8, you're still removing quite a bit of metal. All right, so let's move the tool up to the top. Try it again, and we'll go with 1/2 inch. Zero it out. There's a 1/2 inch right there. That was 8.5 thousandths, so I moved it up to 10 thousandths feed. That's looking pretty good. Alright, it's still trying to curl it around a little bit. I'm going to go up one more notch. Let's see, we're at 10.5. I'm going to go to 12. See if that helps break it. I can't go much further. There you go. That's a pretty chip, guys. that did pretty good. So we'll do that again. Let's see, that was what I say, that was a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch per side. So we're running 200. Let's try that again real quick. There's 500 on the dial. See how that chip's breaking off? That's what we want. Need a little lube. I'm very happy with that. That's a 1/2 inch, 12 thousandths feed rate. And that's using a chip breaker here instead of just side rake. So we got some metal there to play with. Let's see what we got. All right, so we got about a 1/2 inch. So let's take, let's go to 3/4. Alright, it's 5, 6, 7, 50. That'll be 3/8 per side using a chip breaker. Pretty good. Try the coolant real quick, see if it works. Nope. With the spray mist, it tries to gum up on the edge of the tool and not cut. So the cutting oil is doing better for that. Okay guys, I went ahead and I cut a fresh piece of stock, got it in there trued up, and there's the tool. And you can see I haven't ground it yet. You can actually see, the wear pattern in the groove there for the chip. And the tool still looks beautiful. It's not worn at all. But what I want to do, I want to go ahead and try a bigger cut. So I'm going to go back to the grinder. I'm going to widen this groove just a little bit more. And we're going to shoot for a deeper cut. So I'll be right back. Alright, I just come back from the grinder and I want you to see my chip breaker groove there that I ground. I took it back a little bit further down this way and I widened it out, made it just a little bit deeper. And there's a view from the end. So I've already proven that this did a better job for me on this, and this has always worked better for me than just using a side rake or a back rake. This groove actually helped break the chip. So let's set it back up and try some more cuts. Alright, we got a fresh piece of stock, and our last cut, I believe we took 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and shoot for a 1-inch cut this time using this chip breaker tool. Okay, zeroed out. There's 500. There's 1,000. This is 1 inch, 1/2 inch per side. And I got my fan on because we're going to be making some smoke. That cool mist just isn't doing the job, man. Old cutting oil is doing better. All right, here we go. little deep. It's doing a nice job with the chip, but it's curling around, see? Let me change it up a bit. Drop the RPM one notch and see if it helps. Not too bad. That's manageable right there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and grind that chip breaker groove a little bit wider, and we're going to try it one more time. Okay, I widened out my chip breaker groove. One thing that I wanted you guys to notice is that this edge right here is not like a razor knife edge. I don't have this groove going all the way up to the corner here. I've got just a very, very tiny flat left. Get it back in here and tighten down. Alright, we're going to try this depth again. See what we do. Getting about the same results. It's trying to break some of them off, and then some of them curl around. Let me go ahead and make another little fun cut here. I'm gonna reset my 500. That's almost a free cutting chip there. All right, I'm gonna back off a 1/4 inch. And this is going to be our final 1.25 inch cut. We're going to try it one more time. First time was with a side rake tool. This is going to be a chip breaker. Big chips, man. I'm going to slow my feed rate down again. We're running about 12, moved down to about 10. All right, well, that's going to be about it for the heavy cut. Alright guys, well that's going to be the conclusion of this video here, Chip Control 2. And I went ahead and put it up there on the board for everybody to see. My best cut that I got was 1.25 inch of removal, or 5/8 per side. And that's a pretty respectful cut right there. And I think that's probably the heaviest cut I've ever taken on anything that I can remember. But and that's using, my best performance was a chip breaker tool, as you guys seen in the video. So here's that big old chip when I was remove 1.25 inches of metal using the tool that just has side rake on it. It's not a bad looking chip, but it's a stringy chip. Kind of looks like, you know, come off of a drill. So here's my chip breaker tool here, and the tool is still in excellent shape. Now, we didn't take a lot of metal, but you know, we were hogging, and that little cutting edge right there is still in perfect shape. We still do a lot of turning with that, so keep that in mind. And you guys wanting to play around some more, give this a try. Grind you a chip breaker groove in the top and give it another shot. So these are the kind of chips here. These little curly cues is what you want to try to get. And this one right here, these chips, was used by the chip breaker tool, and this was taking 1/4 inch per side, or removing 1/2 inch. There's those little chips right there. These two curly cues here, see, that's a good chip also. This was a 1 inch cut. Yep, those are 1/2 inch wide. So that was dialing in 1 inch and removing 1/2 inch per side using a chip breaker tool. I believe this one right here was with the this other tool bit using side rake. And this big old wad of chips was from that last cut that you just seen me take. 1.25 inch removal, 5/8 per side. It's pretty big, thick chips curled up in there. That's a lot of weight to that chip right there. So I think we learned a few lessons here. I mean, I did. For me, the Cool Mist it wasn't doing a good job. The cutting oil just did so much better for me, and it smokes up the shop. It's not really good for you, but there's ways around that if it's a serious situation where you don't want all that smoke. I mean, you got ways to vent that out, but it doesn't really bother me too much. So I like using the cutting oil, and it just got a better chip out of it. So this is going to be all for trying to take the biggest cut. I'm not going to try to attempt taking any more than that, but what I would like to do is make one more video, and this is out of viewer request, is to show on the same type of tool bits here how to achieve good finishes. So we'll be playing with light cuts and finishing cuts and see what kind of finish we can get on the same piece of stock. We'll be using cold roll for that. And you can take the same type of tool right here, probably use my smaller one right here, my 3/8, and I'll show you how to grind these and hone it, and set your feed rate right, and you can make a beautiful little cut with these little tools right here and get good finishes with it. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support, and I hope it was fun for you. So we'll see you next time. All right.